All right, let's go ahead and get started with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome. It's July 14th. This is the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. I'm Aaron Mays. I represent District 3. On my left is Commissioner Rippon, representing District 1. On my right, Commissioner Kevin Cook, representing District 2. Good morning, both of you. Good morning. Ashley Biegert at the far right, representing the Counselor's Office, and our County Clerk, Lisa Schmidt, at my far left. Good morning to both of you as well.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Let's get started. First item, please.
All right, first item is item 3, the consent agenda.
We've got a lot of items on the consent agenda today. If there's no issues with any of those, I would move for approval.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
Next item is item 4, new business. A, County Clerk. 1, consider all voucher payments.
Okay, we have 2 vouchers to approve, and I'm going to recommend we do both at the same time. For this week's report, it's $5,571,993.71. Significant payments include $854,302 to TLG operations for 2 refuge trucks and 2 side loaders paid with solid waste funds. $232,703 to Rush Truck Centers, Kansas, Inc. for a dump truck with snow plow for Public Works, paid with capital outlay fund and Public Works special machinery fund. And $606,916.68 to Cine and Company for progress payment on the courthouse renovation project using ARPA and SLFRF funding, leaving only 1% retainage remaining to be paid. The other voucher, this is for last week, $4,045,163.95. Significant payments include $460,650 to RCI Adventure Products for a progress payment on the Gage Park Aerial Adventure Trail, funding from Gage Park Sales Tax Fund, and $222,713.18 to King Construction for a progress payment on the Southwest Auburn Road from Southwest 29th Street to K4 Highway, road improvement project, funding from infrastructure funds. If there's no.
Can we correct that amount?
$4,045,193.95.
Thank you.
There's no other questions, comments. I would move for approval of the vouchers.
Second. Got a motion by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item.
Item 2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
Item B, Planning Department. 1, public hearing and consider approval of resolution number 2025-54 to amend the district zoning classification from RA1 to O&I1 on property located on Northwest Carlson Road in Dover Township.
Good morning, Commissioners. Joni Fedani, Director of the Planning Department. As mentioned, we are here for a public hearing this morning on a rezoning case, rezoning from RA1 to O&I1. The property is located off of Northwest Carlson Road in Dover Township, and it is a 3-acre parcel. You can see here it is off of I-70. The blue star is noting the location. The parcel has historically been designated as ag use and has remained undeveloped. The applicant did initially request to have C1 commercial district zoning, which would permit for a wide variety of commercial uses, some of which could generate some higher traffic volumes and may be less compatible with surrounding properties. Following some input from outside entities and internal discussions, we reached out to the applicant and asked whether or not O&I 1 would be a suitable use, and the applicant was conducive to that. O&I classification does significantly limit the range of businesses that could be allowed by right within the district, and one of those uses is for office use, which is what is occurring in this situation. The applicant selected this parcel due to its location and proximity. They do intend to establish a small family-operated business at the location. This business itself will be general office functions. They are a construction business, but it will just be for the office functions of 3 to 4 staff, administrative tasks, small meetings, and such. Improvements to the property will include a small office building, and then in the future also an accessory building. Again, they will house 3 to 4 employees. It is not a high traffic operation, and the proposed use is low impact. This is the site plan showing in red the structure that they plan to build. In green is where their lateral field will be located. And then in orange to the north will be future use of a small accessory building. As you can see here, the location is off of I-70 and, as mentioned, Carlson Road. As you're driving out on I-70, you may recall that you'll see a frontage road along here, and frequently there will be cars parked as a location for park and ride type scenarios. There's also construction going on not far from there, and so frequently there are some construction vehicles that sit on the entrance here. It is a small minimum type maintenance road, more farm access than anything else, but it's maintained by KDOT. It is improved enough to allow for entrance onto these properties, and KDOT was contacted in regards to whether or not it would be suitable for an entrance on and off of this frontage road for this type of business. They indicated that they were absolutely willing for that entrance to be obtained. They will only maintain it as they have been to this date. They will not improve that road any further. The applicant does plan to maintain it maybe a little bit to a higher level and making sure that it's gravelled to their own needs. Here's the property owners within 1,000 feet. We did send letters to 5 people within 1,000 feet, and no responses were received from those people. We held a public hearing at the Planning Commission on June 9. They recommended approval 5-0. Public comment was received from Dover Township. The concern from Dover Township was that they were worried that at some point in the future they would be assigned responsibility of the road, and they don't want to be assigned that. But ultimately, that's not something that we can forecast at this moment. Right now it's maintained by KDOT, and we don't know what the circumstances may lead that would have KDOT want to release their maintenance and give it to someone else. And so it's not something that we can really take into consideration at this time. Staff did recommend approval subject to the following conditions. The first being a Category A drainage report to Public Works for review and approval. They will have to obtain an entrance permit from KDOT, and then they will be responsible for any supplemental maintenance of the access road, including placing rock as needed. KDOT will maintain the road only to the extent required for that field access road and not anything further. So at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions, and if not, then we need to conduct a public hearing.
Questions for Joni?
Mr. Chair.
Yep. Sure.
Did they give you any numbers on trip generation that they would be, that, you know, how many people would be using this per day or anything like that?
Not any trip generation, no. They did indicate that it would be 3 to 4 employees, and actually two of the employees, maybe even 3, are family. One is the owner and his wife that does office business. The third, I believe, is actually his son. And then the fourth is an accountant who only works there part-time. But in the long run, they intend that that is probably going to be his daughter. So it's really just 3 to 4 family members that will be conducting business out of the office.
That's all I
Other
have.
questions? All right, I'll make a motion that we open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. We're in a public hearing. Is anyone wishing to speak in favor of this item? Anyone wishing to speak against this item? Neutral? Seeing none, I would make a motion that we close the public hearing and approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you very much. Next item. Oh, yeah.
Did you adopt the resolution?
Yeah.
Closed and adopted?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Yep. Okay, next item, please.
Item C, Bond Council. Consider approval of resolution number 2025-52 declaring the necessity and advisability to create Timber Ridge Subdivision Street Benefit District to authorize the construction of streets therein and to assess all costs of the construction and installation of the improvements against the 18 lots benefited thereby.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works, filling in for Bond Council. I'm here before you requesting approval of a resolution which creates an 18-lot street benefit district. As you can tell from the packet that I provided, the intent of the benefit district is to build roads which consist of curb and gutter, asphalt pavement, cul-de-sac, street ramps, et cetera, et cetera. The project does not include much of the typical earthwork that we have on a project of this type, and it does not include much of the drainage improvements associated with this road project because the petitioner is going to pay for those separately. The total cost of the benefit district would be $730,000. $510,000 of that is actual construction with contingencies, with the remainder being typical design costs, interest costs, et cetera, on that, which brings the total project to $730,000. These costs will be assessed against the 18 parcels equally over a period of 20 years. Because the petitioner owns 100% of the property contained within the benefit district, there is no need for a public hearing. With that, I look forward to your questions.
Questions?
No.
Commissioner Rippon? Okay. All right, then I would make a motion that we approve a resolution.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Next item, please.
D, Health Department. 1, consider approval of contract C 271-2025, renewal of an agreement between Kansas Children's Service League and the Health Department to provide access to funds totaling $364,700 to KCSL for outreach, prevention, and early intervention services from July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Good morning, Commissioners. Teresa Fisher, Director of the Health Department. This agreement with Kansas Children's Service League is a longstanding agreement between our organization and theirs. This allows them to access these OPEI dollars from KDHE that are accessible only to local health departments. So we serve as a pass-through agent. They use these dollars to fund their Healthy Families program, which is a home visitation program for at-risk families here in our community. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about the agreement.
Any questions? Okay.
I'll move for approval.
I'll second. Motion by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 2, acknowledge budget revisions to the Kansas Department of Health and Environment Aid to Local Grant application for state fiscal year 2026 and acknowledge SCHD renewal of current universal agreement.
Good morning, Commissioners. Teresa Fisher, Director of the Health Department. Before you today is a request to accept the awards that we have received to date for our aid to local from the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. These include some that have been fully awarded and some that are in partial awarded amounts. Should we receive the rest of the awards that are in partial amounts, I will bring that back before you. And then the renewal is the universal agreement that has, we signed it new last year, and it has 5 automatic one-year renewals. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about this agreement.
So on the, I'm looking at the numbers here, and several of the items have the asterisk that says pending award or awaiting possible second award notice. So the ones that don't have that, those numbers are set in stone already then? So for instance, childcare licensing went down by $189,848. That's a final number?
It actually did not go down. That is what we requested. And on the second page of it has what we were awarded last state fiscal year and then awarded this state fiscal year. So that the particular one you're looking at, the child care licensing, the awarded amount actually stayed flat.
So,
Okay, so
Yeah.
we requested the 381.
Correct.
But we
We
which was
requested
double what we got last year then, or close to it?
on child care
Or-
licensing.
Okay, so, all right.
so in 2025, child care licensing had 167,171. And
Okay,
we
we
got
just
awarded.
requested more this
Yeah,
year.
we requested 189,000 more, and we were not awarded that.
Okay, I understand now. All right. I didn't see the 25 numbers there, so,
Yeah.
okay. Any other questions?
No.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Next item, please.
E, Parks and Recreation. 1, consider approval to award bid 024-25 and subsequent agreement, contract C2722025 with Green Care Lawn and Landscape for the Family Park Trail Construction Project. Funding is provided by the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks Recreational Trail Program for up to $141,663.50 in awarded grant funds, with the balance provided by the department's building maintenance fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. So we're excited about this project. We were successful in getting a grant to help complete this trail project. This is loosely based on our Family Park Master Plan. We had to change the route just a little bit, but we'll begin we'll connect Urish to 21st Street. It will also touch the existing loop trail that we have in the park around our great lawn and playground and shelter facilities. So just one more step in trying to get closer to that neighborhood and make this park accessible. So be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions for Tim? Yep, Commissioner Redpath.
What's your surface material? Is this a limestone screening type?
No, I believe this is concrete.
Concrete?
Yep.
Okay. And you said you're following the master plan with a few exceptions. How far west are you going with this trail?
So, are you familiar with where the golf course maintenance shop
Yes,
is
yes, I
now?
am.
We will be a little bit, we won't go quite that far to that road or that access road. We'll just be a little bit east of that road, is my understanding.
Okay.
And we have the other pending project there, the golf course clubhouse project, if that goes through. And we have looked at that, and I think this would line up nicely with the access point that we'd like to create for that project if it happens.
Okay. That's all I have.
All right. Any other questions?
I would move for approval.
I'll second. A motion by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 2, consider approval of contract C273-2025 with Mercury Broadband, an advertising sponsorship agreement to advertise with banners and electronic displays at Parks and Recreation sports facilities and marquees.
Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. We've been working with Mercury Broadband to provide internet access at the Invista Complex. Things are working very well. This agreement would give us those services for free. It'd be a 5-year term. And in exchange, Mercury Broadband would get naming rights over one field at Invista. They would get banners at multiple locations. We would advertise for Mercury on our marquee boards and on our website, those sorts of things. Things that we offer is in a lot of our sponsorship packages. This would be a 5-year term. I do have a representative from Mercury here today. We would be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions? No? All right, well, happy to see this, so I would make a motion that we approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Were you wanted, I know that the next couple items are also similar, or the next, oh, no, yeah.
I think we got,
No, it's just the one then, okay.
we have
One more.
one
one more.
more and then
So-
we've got those, yeah.
Okay, did you want to do photos with any of these or anything like that?
Would you
or-
like to come up and take a quick photo? Yeah, I think this would be the only one. I'm not sure we have anybody here for the next.
Yeah, okay. Right in the middle,
Right in the middle there.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Don't forget your sunglasses.
Thank you. Okay, moving along, next item, please.
Item 3, consider approval of contract C283-2025 with Jimmy John's, an advertising sponsorship agreement to advertise with banners, splash radios, sports shirts, and electronic displays at Parks and Recreation sports facilities, marquees, and jerseys.
Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. So this arrangement with Jimmy John's, the total value of this arrangement is $46,000 over 4 years. They are making cash contributions to the Parks for All Foundation in the total amount of $32,800, and that's $8,200 annually. They will provide us over $13,000 worth of meals for different events and things that we put on. They're also helping with the cost of some of our T-shirts. We'll provide their logo on those shirts. So we think it's a great deal for us and hopefully for them. And they've been a good partner with us so far. And I don't believe we have anyone here from Jimmy John's.
No, the gentleman that oversees the Jimmy John's in Shawnee County lives in Wichita, Kansas, and works out of his home and has quite a family that he takes care of. So
No problem, no problem.
He's not going to be here today.
Thank you. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions?
No sandwiches?
No.
I'll go get one to celebrate later on. So,
Let me consider this a little.
all right, I'll make a motion that we approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Jimmy Johns. Next item, please.
Item 4, consider approval of contract C284-2025 with Mammoth Sports Construction utilizing the Greenbush COOP to build a new sand volleyball court and install lighting at Gage Park. Cost of service is $222,582.19, utilizing Gage Park sales tax funds.
Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. So about a year and a half ago, we met with some of the volleyball participants on site out at Gage Park, and they relayed some of their concerns with where we're currently playing sand volleyball, which is adequate, but it's not the best location. They got the volleyballs rolling into the parking lot. If you're lucky, the other side runs down a hill down to the pond. So it's not the ideal location. We'd like to create a new sand volleyball area. This would be over on the, I guess that'd be the west side of over by Civitan, off Civitan Lane, next to our current maintenance shop and by the accessible ball diamond. It'd be 4 courts. There'd be a fence around the whole complex. Ultimately, we hope will be lit. That's not part of this. We'll come back for that portion of it. But with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have about the project. I might add real quick that this will be paid for out of Gage Park's sales tax funds.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
Okay. I'll move. Oh, go ahead.
So I would move for approval.
Okay, I'll second. Motion by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
5, consider approval of contract C274-2025 with AFCO, utilizing the Greenbush Purchasing Cooperative for equipment for the Gage Park Playland Improvements Project. Cost of $195,568.80 to be funded from the Gage Park sales tax funds.
So was this the one you wanted to try to handle all 3? Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. Would you like to handle all 3 of these or go through one at a time?
Does anybody have an opinion on that?
I have no objections.
I mean, we could do them
all
all 3 at the same time. That's fine. They're kind of all connected, so.
Okay. Then item 6 is consider approval of contract C275-2025 with AB Creative, utilizing the Greenbush Purchasing Cooperative to purchase play equipment at Gage Park for the Gage Park Playland Improvements Project. Cost of $83,949.59 to be funded from the Gage Park sales tax funds. And then item 7 is the approval of contract C282-2025 with Aspire to Play, utilizing the Greenbush Purchasing Cooperative to purchase play equipment at Gage Park for the Gage Park Playland Improvements Project, with a cost of $46,662 to be funded from the Gage Park sales tax funds.
Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. So this would be the last major purchase. There may be a few odds and ends in the future, but of playground equipment for the Playland project at Gage Park. All of these pieces that are on this request will be on the west side of Playland. That will be the last side to be developed. That area right now all the work that's being done in the park will be coming in on that west side, and so we're waiting to do the play. That'll be the last portion that we complete. We've worked with all 3 of these vendors on other projects. All 3 of them are great. They sell top-notch equipment, and we're using the cooperatives to make these purchases, and I would be happy to answer any questions. This is also being funded out of the Gage Park Sales Tax Fund, or the Gage Park, yeah.
Questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Is there a safety surface included in all these, or would that be a separate bid?
That will be separate.
Okay. That's all I have.
So, Tim, I have to ask, we've got 3 different vendors here. Is there going to be some kind of cohesion between them? They're not just going to be completely different apparatus throughout the park, or are there going to be kind of a theme or anything like that?
Yeah, they are going to be different pieces of equipment, so they'll offer different, different play value for different age groups and things like that. But we are trying to keep a consistent color scheme throughout the park, so that these don't look necessarily like they came from different vendors. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, yeah, because the previous equipment looked like it came from different vendors in different decades. And
I think it did, yeah, over many years, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
No. I'll move for approval of the 3 contracts.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Cook to do all 3, and second by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next item, please.
F, emergency management. 1, consider emergency management request to issue purchase orders and make purchases from CIP 24 monies for the tactical communications vehicle not to exceed $48,000.
Morning, Commissioners. Nelson Castile, Emergency Management. This is our ongoing upgrades to some of the technology on that vehicle that we've been using. I would also note we've worked very closely with the Sheriff's Office on integrating this into the real-time crime center as well. Be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions?
None.
No.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the request.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 2, consider approval of the 2025 First Responder Grant Awards in accordance with Contract C-207-2016 and Resolution 2023-30.
Morning, Commissioners. Nelson Castile, Ambulance Compliance Officer. This is our annual award of the first responder grants. The grant monies come from a special revenue account that is where we deposit the fines and penalties that are assessed to AMR for not meeting specific items in the contract. We were a little bit higher this year on the crew force applications. That's the phones and the MDTs. We believe that price, like all things, is going to go up, so we had them take just a little bit bigger chunk out of that. We'll know in November what the final is. And we split this out between the other 3 departments that wanted something, and everything met what you had previously said in the resolution that they could either purchase or fund. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Commissioner.
Nelson. Next item, please.
G, Human Resources. 1, consider approval of resolution number 2025-53, appointing the Shawnee County Director of Facilities Management.
Good morning, Commissioners. You've heard the resolution. We do have Justin Landon here today, if you'd like to give him the opportunity to introduce himself.
Okay. Feel free.
Morning, Commissioners. Justin Landon, Director of Facilities Management. I want to thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to working with everybody.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to working with you as well. And I know Jake Fisher is looking forward to giving up his interim role. So welcome aboard. We're happy to have you. Any questions or anything?
No.
All right, great.
aboard.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Congratulations and welcome. All right, next item, please.
H, Department of Corrections. 1, consider approval of contract C-285-2025, third amendment to contract with KBS Constructors Incorporated for the construction of the mental health living units within the Adult Detention Center, increasing the guaranteed maximum price by $605,000 to be paid with unexpected budget funds and interest on the project bond funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Phelps, Department of Corrections. This item will allow us to purchase and install the cells for the 3rd floor of the behavioral health unit. That will help us not have to tear the building open at a later time when we have funding to complete the full 3rd floor. So I think this is a good investment, and although it increases the GMP on the project, we have funds that will cover that through savings and through bond interest. I'd be happy to answer any of the questions you have.
Any questions for Tim?
No, I think this is the time to do it.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Next item, please.
I, Solid Waste. 1, request to issue request for quotations for the solid waste management technology systems.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Shawnee County Solid Waste. This agenda item is we are asking to go out for quotations for a possible replacement for our dispatching and onboard navigation system that we utilize in all of our trucks and the back office software. Our current vendor, our contract is expiring at the end of this year, and we just wanted to see if there's a new technology or a new vendor out there that's incorporating everything that we're looking for, and to see what the quotes come back. So this is a budgeted item currently in my fund, and I stand by for any questions.
Questions? No. I imagine with AI's advances in the last couple of years, there's probably some pretty good software available right now. So I'll make a motion that we issue the request for quotations.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Bill. Next item, please.
J, Election Office. 1, consider approval of contract C 286-2025 with D4 Logistics LLC and D4 Improvements LLC to provide election equipment, moving and delivery services for the 2025 through 2028 election cycles.
Good morning, Commissioners. Andrew Howell, Shawnee County Election Commissioner. This is the second attempt at a contract that we've made. We got your permission to go back and see if we could find someone else to negotiate with to find a better price. We've done that. I feel very good about both the provider and the price tag. Under this contract, I think the county should save somewhere between $40,000 to $50,000 per year. And I feel very good about this contract as well as the contractor. So happy to answer any questions. As you know, I think we mentioned this before, there are a lot of additional security requirements now under state law, which is why we've had to update the way we do those deliveries and the security functions around those deliveries of equipment to polling places. So I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions? Okay. Then I'll make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Next item, please.
K, Audit Finance. 1, consider approval of resolution number 2025-55, notification and intent to exceed revenue neutral rate, and set the revenue neutral rate public hearing.
So before we begin, the next item is also, I feel like, connected to this. Should we switch them or do them at the same? Can we do them as one item, or?
No, you would need to do this one first. They would need to be two separate actions. This is just providing the notice of intent to exceed. It doesn't set.
We don't have to set a number today?
No.
On that?
It's just the notice of intent.
Okay.
We have to set the mill levy, which is included inside the resolution.
Yeah, but that can change.
Yes, but this sets the highest amount.
Correct, yes.
So I think what Commissioner Mays is asking is, can we flip these two and have a discussion of the budget first?
We just can't do them at the same time.
Yep.
Okay.
So we want to start with 2026 CIP and budget discussions?
What do you guys think? Should we do the budget discussions first, or should we do the revenue neutral rate thing first?
Well, are we going to pass the whole budget today?
No, we're going to discuss a budget today.
I mean, because, if the notice is for the proposed mill levy of 48.326, which is what every department head submitted, which would be, right?
No. The 48.326 would be us holding last year's mill levy steady, which would include several cuts to what the departments requested.
Okay. And yes, we should do the other one first.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and begin with item 2, and then we'll just go back to the.
Okay. Item 2, 2026 CIP and budget discussions.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jennifer Sauer, Financial Administrator. Just a second. Let me just pull up real quick what the budget was that was requested from all the different entities, the departments and the entities. Thank you, Stephanie, for making this available real quick. So what the departments have requested in order to make, to allow us to hold the mill levy at 48.326, which is what our current mill levy is, we would have to do in addition to the use of our reserves of $3,748,000, we would need to also find what is just listed here as uncategorized reduction in budget of $7,454,800. So with that cut of $7,454,800, we would be able to hold our mill levy flat.
With the,
Say that again.
With a cut of $7,454,800, we would be able to hold our mill levy flat at 48.326.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
just if we could, for everybody that's involved and watching, the budget for last year was $145,575,339. It's at the bottom. Now, what the department submitted would take us to a budget of $157,046,965.
Actually, that plus an
More.
additional $3,748,000 for the additional pay period.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
sorry, I don't have that subtotal listed here.
157,046,965 plus the additional 3,748,000 takes us to $160,794,965, less the amount from this current year that we are in, $145,575,339. That's a total increase of $15,219,626.
Yes.
And the recommendation is that we find cuts of $15 million.
I believe that is what you have requested as commissioners would be. Your desire would be to try and hold the mill levy flat. And so in order to make that happen, that is the cut that we would have to have.
Now, that's still exceeding the revenue neutral rate.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Because revenue neutral versus a flat mill levy are two separate things.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
The
Can you
revenue,
explain?
regardless, we would have to, we have every intention, I believe, of exceeding the revenue neutral rate, because the only way we would be able to stay at the revenue neutral rate would be to keep our revenues flat from last year, which means that would, in a world where there were no increases to any property valuations, that would hold it flat. But in a world where you have a single increase in property valuations, you immediately are in a situation where you can't hold the revenue neutral rate flat.
Okay.
Quick summary, that's the non-legislative wording of it.
Now, you identified that $3,748,000 coming from the reserves.
Yes, that is the leftover balance of our 2024 budget, and I will be asking at a later date if we can reserve those funds specifically to fund the 27th pay period, which is a anomaly that happens every 11 years whenever you have a biweekly pay period like we do. And 2026 is that year.
Okay. Now, the reality is, if we do make these cuts of the additional $7,454,800, we do have departments that might have cuts to staffing, cuts to projects that they're doing. Those are going to be some of the inevitable choices that they're going to have to make.
Mm-hmm. There will be, obviously at $7.4 million, there will be some drastic cuts in order to be able to hit this mill levy. But we have until September 20th to figure that out.
Can I ask a question quickly? So the mill levy that's stated in the resolution has to be the max mill levy.
Absolutely.
So if we sign this notice of intent, that means you are not going above that mill levy.
Correct.
So I
You
want
are-
that to be absolutely
Yes,
clear.
you are committing to this cut of $7,454,800 in addition to the reserve funding of $3,748,000.
If we agreed to a higher mill levy, we can still bring it down later on.
Yes.
Absolutely. But that would have to be signed today. So we would need to get an amended resolution from Tabitha, I would guess, or someone who could provide that resolution for us, because this resolution of notice to, or the intent to exceed is due to the clerk's office by July the 20th, which is a Sunday. So you have to come, you have to back the dates, and today is our last meeting in order to make this happen.
So by locking into that, we'd be painting ourselves into a corner, basically.
By not passing this resolution, we are locked into to the revenue neutral rate.
You can pass the resolution with an amendment to
Lower it.
increase the mill levy to a certain amount today. You could do that today. But if you pass the resolution as is with the mill levy set,
Done.
then you cannot go above that.
What would be the mill levy if it was for what everybody had requested?
I'm not sure that, I don't even have the spreadsheet pulled up here. I do not have that with me today, I'm sorry, it was approximately 54.
Okay. Would it, if we were to take a quick break, would you be able to calculate that?
Yeah, I can calculate that if you give me like 5 minutes.
Can we take a 10-minute recess? Just
Yep.
so we're discussing what the max is?
Okay. All right. Yep, we'll stand at ease until, let's just say 9:55.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay. Everybody ready to get started again? All right. So,
All right, sorry, downloaded my spreadsheet, and what I did was I removed the uncategorized reduction in budget and the use of reserves, which brings us to the actual total request from the departments and all of our community service partners, which brought us to a total request this year of $161,472,524, which would result in a mill levy of 53.051. So as we discussed previously, do you want me to put the use of the reserves in there? Because I think that was something that you guys had pretty much, I mean, it's not passed yet.
Yeah, I think we've all sort of planned on doing that.
Okay. I just wanted to start from square one here. So if we plan on using our reserves so that we don't have a spike in the mill levy due to this 27th pay period anomaly, then that would bring us to a estimated mill levy in order to make all budget requests and use our 2024 excess to bring us down to 51.471 as the mill levy. And again, this is an estimated mill levy. Our tax rolls are not final. That all gets finalized later in the year.
So Jennifer, let me ask you, the cost of the 27th pay period is $4,162,477. We are using 3.748
Yes.
of reserves. Why the discrepancy? Should we just take the whole amount from reserves?
Yeah, first of all, the 27th pay period that I have on here is just a total estimate on what it is, and that is based on what the requests have been made for increases to payroll. So we do have an increase of 39 positions that are included in this budget ask. So there's 39 new positions, and the 27th payroll, I included all of those positions in this 27th payroll estimate. So it may end up being much different than that. I just put it in here just so that you guys would have some idea the effect of this 27th pay period in the increase of our budget.
Okay.
Yeah, and the amount that I'm using for the use of reserves, that is on our unofficial financial statements for 2024. They're still in with the auditors. That is what our excess, or what our excess revenues in 2024 were over our expenses. So that was primarily due to the investment interest not dropping as quickly as we had projected that it was going to drop. So that resulted in about $3.5 million of revenues.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Jennifer, this new number that we're looking at, does this take into account the changes requested by Vallejo,
Yes.
the weed department, the health department? So
This is the adjusted request, so it's not the same as the requests that you guys saw during the department presentations. This shows Vallejo's increase going up to 3.570. It shows the health department increasing their budget request up to $3,677,000. It shows there was a small change to the weed department. I think it increased by it's about $7,000. So it's now at $455,674. And then it shows the social service grants dropping because they had a bad number that they were starting with in their own internal documentation, and this is showing them flat because when they came back, they came back with a number that was still a little higher. I believe at some point her desire is to maybe increase that to a 3% increase, but I didn't have any of those numbers when we were finishing this at that time. If you'd like, I can show it with a 3% increase so you can see what that would look like.
why don't you just So this number now that we're looking at, the 51.474, this would be the maximum mill levy if everybody was granted everything they were requesting.
Correct.
Okay. But the concern that I would have is if you send out that notice to the public on a revenue neutral rate card, and if the general public gets the card and says, oh my goodness, Shawnee County is asking for a 6.51 increase, they're nuts, they're out of control, they're freewheeling spending our money. Thanks, guys. I mean, you guys made the budget, and then we got to deal with the public. So, we can't do that.
We can. I don't think you want to.
No. The alternative is to do what we first discussed, which is at a flat mill levy, which then notifies the department heads that we're going to be cutting $7.5 million from their proposed budgets.
Correct. And locks you in that you cannot exceed that number.
I don't know that I mean, I would want to work for a minimum of a flat mill levy. I think that's a good goal to work towards. But I think our safer bet would be just a little bit above that, just in case unexpected things do develop during our discussions.
Jennifer, do we know what 1 mil equals in this budget?
I'm not sure that I do. But hang on, I'm sorry. You guys are throwing me some great questions today. Thank you.
I admire your ability to do it on the fly also, so.
Trying. Let's see. I'm not sure that I have that off the top of my head. I don't think I have that here. I'm so sorry. I don't have it off the, let me look real quick, just out of curiosity. I'm giving you a really not firm answer, but roughly $2 million. A $2 million cut would drop it up roughly $1 million, or 1 mil levy. Because if I put in a $2 million uncategorized reduction, that brings it from 51.474 to 50.632, so it would be a little more than $2 million. Roughly 2.5 million, I guess. That would be the closer number.
So if we wanted to do a 1 mil increase as opposed to 4 for revenue neutral rate purposes.
Okay. That's right. So that's a little more than 1 mil increase. You'd be cutting approximately 5.1 million. That gets you to a 49.323 versus our current 48.326.
Well, we got some work to do.
Yes. July and August are going to be in busy times.
I would feel more comfortable if our revenue neutral rate indicated that maximum would be a 1 mil increase. Again, with the goal of getting to a flat mill levy.
Yeah. I feel,
Yes. So 2.4 million. She was confirming it's approximately 2.4 million, and my numbers are showing, I think mine are a little different because mine take into consideration the tax delinquencies. So
2.4 billion.
million.
Oh.
We're not the federal government.
Please don't cut billions from our budget.
I thought you were talking about our assessed valuation.
No, no, no.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is 2.4 billion.
So what you're saying is, I think what Commissioner Cook is saying, you would prefer to have this listed at our revenue neutral rate resolution would read that our proposed mill levy would be no more than 49.326.
323.
Well, 326 would be over last year.
I see what you're saying.
323, I'm putting an estimate on how much we'd have to reduce our budget. And so if we reduced it 5.1, we would slide underneath there and we'd be okay. We would fine tune that as much as we could once we were actually working on the budget itself.
I think that's acceptable.
Okay. All right. Ashley?
Are you taking up the resolution now then first? Is that what you're wanting to do? Because currently we're operating under consideration of CIP and budget, so if you're wanting to take up the resolution.
No, we're not to the resolution yet. We're looking at the budget.
Okay.
And then, based on this discussion, we'll be able to get to the resolution.
Okay.
Okay. So, do we want to start on these budget discussions and where those cuts might come from today, or do we want to save that for another day?
I think we should identify so the departments are aware of cuts coming. I know that from our budget discussions, we had a requested increase of approximately $4 million from the sheriff, $3 million from Department of Corrections, $1 million from the district attorney, and $1 million from Parks and Rec, and $500,000 from Public Works.
And then Vallejo.
And Vallejo with now their, additionally, they requested 400, and now they've requested 800. I mean, those were the top budget requests. So if we find $5 million, it's probably going to come from those areas.
I would agree with that. Commissioner Rippon, you have anything to add?
No. It's going to be some tough cuts.
Yep. Okay.
So,
we move on to the next agenda item then?
well, what about our CIP? Do we need to discuss that at all today?
No, I was going to let you know, I have heard back from the Parks and Rec Department, and they have given, provided me the breakdown of what the, thank you, Cypress Ridge, oh my gosh, I've lost all, thank you, these are words and I'm looking at numbers. So, yeah, the new clubhouse, they broke out what that portion of it would be, so I can give you guys that information. And I have not heard back from the event center yet on what the breakdown for the chairs were that you had asked for. So I don't necessarily have anything new to discuss for CIP. And I believe there was also a project for Montera that was lined out in Parks and Rec also provided that. So we can add that in for consideration if you guys would like us to include that for 26, if you're in an adding mood. So I don't really have anything for CIP unless you guys want to discuss it.
With those, does that change your mill levy revenue neutral? I mean, the CIP, when those additional requests?
Not necessarily, because CIP doesn't necessarily affect the budget, because what we do is, the only way that it would affect the budget is we have a requested capital outlay item of $2,500,000 for capital outlay, and those CIP items, some of them would be funded by cap outlay. So in that way, it would affect it, but it's not a direct one-to-one effect. It's just, if you're still looking at keeping the cap outlay, the only consideration is the $2.5 million is one of the items that can be cut in ways you're looking at setting the budget.
All right. Well, I don't know if there's decisions we're ready to make today.
Okay. Well, then let's move on to what was item 1. Will be now item 2, I guess.
So consider approval of resolution number 2025-55, notification of intent to exceed revenue neutral rate and set the revenue neutral rate public hearing.
And on page 2 of the resolution, we would be changing the 48.326 number with
49.326.
49.326.
And then so this, Commissioners, this includes not only Shawnee County's revenue neutral rate resolution, but it also incorporates the taxing districts, which we're required by law to sit as its governing body, which includes sewer districts number 2 and sewer district number 6. In addition to the revenue neutral, or the maximum mill levy, the resolution also sets the public hearing, which is set for September 8th, 2025 at 9 a.m. in this commission office. And it provides a 4-minute time limit for each interested taxpayer to present oral testimony at the public hearing, and it temporarily suspends Robert's Rules of Order during that public hearing. I believe that's everything else that was included on the memo.
Okay.
Well, I'd make a motion to adopt the resolution with the change to the revenue, or the proposed mill levy rate to 49.326.
Okay, and the hearing on September 8th?
So the hearing still September 8th at 9 a.m.
Okay. Any changes to that or questions or anything? Okay.
Sounds good.
I'll second that. So we've got a motion by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Okay. So that moves us to our next item.
Thank you. I did not see anyone signed up for public comment.
I did not have anyone either, so next item.
Would be administrative communications.
Any administrative communications?
Good morning, Commissioners. Andrew Howell, Shawnee County Election Commissioner. Just a reminder, tomorrow is the last day to register to vote if you need to change your registration for this primary election. Quick reminder, this primary election that we're holding in Shawnee County is only for voters that live within the city district of the mayor or District 1, so city limits. And then we will start early voting next Monday. So that's coming up pretty quick, and we will be open from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. for voters. Happy to answer any other questions, but just a reminder, that primary election is well underway.
So Andrew, are there no primaries in Auburn or Rossville or Silver Lake or anything
Correct.
like that? Okay.
Correct. It is only within the city limits of Topeka. And I know that sometimes confuses people that don't know exactly where that border is, but you can certainly call the office, 251-5900. We're happy to help with any questions on that. There will be no polling places open out in the county, but there are some near the edges that we'll have to use just to make it easier for voters. So just a reminder to people to pay attention to Voter View. I think it does a good job. Voter View is the Secretary of State's website. We also link to that on the Shawnee County website to make it easier for people to figure out where their polling place that they're assigned to for this election. But just a reminder, if you live outside the city limits of Topeka, that there will not be an August primary.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Teresa Fisher, Director of the Health Department. I am happy to announce that we have opened our nominations for the 2025 Public Health Champion Awards. We will honor one individual and one organization that have made outstanding contributions to advancing health equity and improving community well-being throughout Topeka and Shawnee County. So you can find the nomination form on our website, all of our social media channels, or also you can pick up a paper copy at our locations. The award recipients will be honored at the annual community conversation, which this year will take place on Friday, August 15th at the Topeka and Shawnee County Public Library. We look forward to receiving the nominations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Commissioner Rippon?
I don't have anything to report.
Commissioner Cook?
If you're a department head and you have IDs or identified areas of your budget, maybe we can look at for that $5 to $7 million. I would rather you guys come up with a plan than us making the plan for you. So, thank you.
Okay. Thursday, we've got a work session, and our work session will be our employee recognitions and retirements, I believe, this week. So unfortunately, I won't be in attendance, so hopefully it goes well. I know I just signed all the certificates a minute ago, and we have a 45-year recognition this time around, which is pretty wild to think about. So anyway, since I won't be here, thank you to all those folks for their service to Shawnee County. Other than that, I don't have anything. So the next item.
Executive session?
We do not have a need for executive session today, so we are adjourned.